Westside Gunn is a rapper from Buffalo, New York who prides himself on making art and being a master curator, kind of like DJ Khaled if he was actually based and could rap. Westside Gunn's music typically includes great production and instrumentals, luxury talk, drug talk, the staples of modern gangster rap. In this video I want to talk about what makes Westside Gunn's music special and out of the ordinary in the modern rap music scene, and how that's affected his career a little and if he'll ever retire. Westside Gunn started making music in 2004 with his label Street Entertainment, or SE Gang. In 2012, when his half-brother Conway the Machine got shot, he started releasing music again, and would later change SE Gang into Griselda Records. I first found Griselda in the spring of 2019 with their song Headlines with DJ Premier. Admittedly, that is a late start to listening to the group, but compared to people who caught on much later than I'd say I caught the bandwagon relatively early, or at the perfect time. It felt like Christmas Day every time there was a drop from someone in the group, even back in 2019, and Westside that year released FLYGOD's An Awesome God and Hitler Wears Hermes 7. I would only become a bigger fan in 2020 with Pray for Paris, and then Awesome God 2, which was okay, and then Who Made the Sunshine came out, and for a little while I stopped caring about Gunn. Okay, maybe caring is a bad way to put it. I still look forward to music and features, and I liked his feature on From King to a God, Versace Tape, and Pray for Haiti, but I wasn't quite back on the Gunn bandwagon until August 2021 with the release of Hitler Wears Hermes 8, and I was able to believe in Gunn's musical talent again. It felt like he didn't miss nearly a single step since Pray for Paris, and because he took more time to work on these two projects, they sounded better than average for his catalog, and you could really tell the effort he put into it. I've said it before, but without these two uber mid albums, we would not have gotten Hitler 8 because he experimented on these to find out what works and what doesn't, or at least that's my excuse for why these projects sucked. In 2022 he released Hitler Wears Hermes 10, and I made a rather divisive video about it. I said that it was good but disappointing, and I think what a lot of people don't or didn't realize about that video is that I was critiquing him from the point of view of the fan. And I did enjoy the album, but I didn't love it. I was definitely hating, but that part of that was for the bit. Westside Gunn's known for getting features and garnering respect from those in the most underground of rappers to mainstream artists like Travis Scott, Playboi Carti, and Kanye West. In his albums, he usually has a cast of characters to choose from: FLYGOD, Cooks, Benny the Butcher, Conway the Machine, Rome Streets, Mock Homie, Boldy James, etc., etc. Westside knows what these people sound good over, usually, and he places them on nearly the right beat almost every time. His ear for beats is nearly impeccable too. Even among the most prolific and musically talented curators in the rap game, Westside knows what he and others sound good over. I'd say he's only bad at it when he wants to experiment and rap about very passionate male-to-female physical contact, or when he wants to try something new. When he sticks to his guns, he's picked some of the best beats I've ever heard. If you want recent examples, listen to Big Ass Bracelet on Peace FLYGOD, or Switches on Everything on Hitler 10. When you listen to Switches on Everything at first, you're like, man, I don't know how Run the Jewels is going to sound on this, even with the FLYGOD feature as well. But it works flawlessly. LP starts the song flowing right over this beat effortlessly. And I would have liked a Gunn verse too, but the song is still great despite that, so it doesn't really matter. And you wouldn't know or expect something that sounds like this to work, but it does, and Westside makes this happen all the time. He's put Sauce Waka over a haunting guitar loop on Lakers vs. Rockets. And I think his beat selection is nearly flawless. Anything from grimy, dark, gloomy-ass production to the most beautiful of soul sample loops. He's got it all, and a mix of the two sometimes as well. He also adopts the drumless style sometimes, which if you don't know, here's a quick history lesson. In 2010, rapper-producer Rock Marciano released his first album, Marsburg, which had more laid-back and less pronounced drums, where him, Alchemist, and New York rapper Ka would begin to push this style more and more in the underground, and Westside Gunn would be one of the earliest in the scene to adopt this style and use it today. He's helped bring it to the forefront and make it a more accessible style, and artists in the mainstream, like Kanye West, Drake, and Jay-Z, have since made drumless-styled songs in the wake of this movement. Songs like Kill Jay-Z, Champagne Poetry, and many of the cuts off Donda, but especially Jail, I think are great examples of this. With Westside Gunn and Griselda's solo albums, I think Westside has a secret weapon that a lot of people in the industry don't: FLYGOD Cooks. FLYGOD Cooks is a recurring feature artist for Westside Gunn, who dropped an album called Reasonable Drought in 2020 with Rock Marciano that at this point is already starting to solidify as a cult classic. he's great at rapping, and he can dip into melody at the same time. And to use the Rock Marciano and Alchemist interview clip from Rap Radar,
he can get in the mud and get busy in the mud with us on some rhyme and shit, but he also could sing his ass off. Like, you know what I'm saying? He's like melody man.
The reason he's so important is because he can adapt to any style, and he can sing when he wants and rap on the same level as Busta Rhymes, Raekwon, Ghostface Killah, and Run the Jewels, seeing as how he's on the same tracks as all of those artists and absolutely held his own. I think the other secret weapon Griselda has is Rome Streetz, who is an underground rapper doing his own thing until picked up by Griselda in 2020. He fills the role of a punchline rapper with incredibly intricate flows and well put together rhyme schemes, while having a cockiness and arrogance that makes his verses hit that much harder. He's almost has that like sort of energy that like Big L does in a way. Westside Gunn's position in the rap game right now is incredibly interesting. He's in this weird spot like Freddie Gibbs, Denzel Curry, or JID, who aren't underground but aren't exactly mainstream either, and can dip into more mainstream or underground pockets whenever they want to. This position allows Westside to get features from all over the industry and show off his unique skill set in curating and making projects. And the projects that specifically show him his greatest strengths are the ones where he and the features feel like they take up an equal amount of space. Both give, and it's seen with albums like FLYGOD, Pray for Paris, Supreme Blientele, and FLYGOD is an awesome god for starters. Some of the best beats I think he's chosen are ones where it's almost out of the feature artist's comfort zones, like Ostertag on Hitler 8 Side B, RTJ on Switches on Everything, Benny and Jadakiss on Gods Don't Bleed, Anderson .Paak on WrestleMania 20, Benny and Conway on Pete's Sake, Lil Wayne on Bash Money, 2 Chainz on Forest Lawn, and Tyler on Fly Who Couldn't Fly Straight. You get it. His strengths as a curator isn't just limited to his own music though, as we can see his talent in other artists' albums, including most Griselda releases, but especially Reject 2, Butcher on Steroids, Tana Talk 3, Tana Talk 4, Kiss the Ring, The Liz 1 and 2, Naxaw, Jim Duggan, and many others. He's able to know what these artists sound good on while retaining the interest of their core fan base. And as we can tell from many other artists right now, it's something they could learn from him. There's 3 albums that I specifically want to talk about as being moments that showcase Westside's greatness. FLYGOD was the album Westside Gunn basically assembled the underground Avengers on back in 2016. He was still largely unknown in the mainstream, and got features from Action Bronson, Danny Brown, Skyzoo, Rock Marciano, and Yoral Droog, and production from Apollo Brown, Static Selecta, and The Alchemist. It was almost a statement of, this is what underground hip-hop is right now. And the way this album comes together is just so phenomenal, with Dunks as the opening track, and I'd say the album rarely lets up from its initial punch. The production is super consistent throughout. My personal favorites in the album are Dunks, Gustavo, Mr. T, 50-Inch Zenith, and Dudley Boys. Pray for Paris was a moment in time. March 2020, Westside Gunn got COVID, almost died, and then we were in kind of a drought of music until April when he finally dropped it after not really hyping it up too much, and it was trending on Twitter with memes and shit, and for the most part, this is where he went from being a typical underground artist and having that underground rapper reputation to more Denzel Curry, Jid, or Freddie Gibbs position in the rap game, because now people knew who he was and they started to pay attention. Big name artists gave him shoutouts like Joey Badass and Tyler the Creator. Not to mention the vibe he tried to extend throughout the track list strengthened his portfolio of curation and showed fans just what he was capable of making on his own. And this isn't even his best project. When Hitler 8 dropped in the fall of 2021, it was the first Westside Gunn project since Who Made the Sunshine, and at first, only when the intros were going, I worried it would be mid or below average, or that I just told myself it would be bad. I even remember I put it on and I heard Mariota, I was like, okay, this is fire, but overall still unsure if it would be good. I remember I went to my 8 a.m. that morning with Margiela Split Toes playing, and I had to turn that shit off until after my class for the day. And I distinctly remember leaving the academic building as Makami's verse starts playing, and I was like, oh my god, this is going to be my album of the year. And then a month later he dropped Side B, and I was already comfortable with Side A, but Side B was even better, and it improved on like everything that I thought was wrong with Side A. Every verse felt great, the production was even more consistent than Side A. Besides maybe one track, all the features were solid. Even the mid-BSF members had good performances. I'd say across the 2 projects, the worst tracks are probably Westheimer and Survivor Series 95. The rapping performances are good, but the production just did not work for what those songs are trying to accomplish. And at least for me, Hitler 8 was a moment. It got me back into listening and exploring music again. Since the previous summer I was working at McDonald's and felt like I had no time to explore any new music, and when I did, it just was not hitting me for whatever reason. The only artist I think I listened to that entire summer was Square, since he had dropped an album in the spring prior. I think the problems with Westside Gunn arise from his ego. He's on Twitter just as much as Talib Kweli is on Instagram, and he loves promoting Meat Riders. Like, I like Westside Gunn's music too, but at the end of the day, just say that you think the music is good. You don't have to act like everyone else is retarded for not liking his music. It's not rocket science, it's not something that just a small percentage of people are born to understand. Bro, it's music, it's not that serious. This is not a renaissance for the mind, it's an artist who's passionate about making good music. And he also blocks people for talking shit about him in his comment sections and online and social media in general. I would know. My biggest point here is that he's not some superhuman entity. He's a real fucking person with a lot of money who makes good music. That's it. Westside has promised so many albums and then never delivered that at this point, every time he says what he's going to drop on Twitter at the beginning of a new year, you could say, yeah, maybe like one of these 4 projects will actually happen. And I've lost track of how many years ago we were promised Gun Lib. It's not happening. It's like what Kid Cudi said about the Scott's album with Travis Scott, where he said that the moment has passed. If Westside Gunn dropped Gun Lib right now, it would not do anything. Westside Gunn has toyed with the idea of retiring for a few years now, and every time he says he's doing it, he doesn't. So I think this goes in the same bucket of lies as everything else on his Twitter does. But also I do see some level of truth to this. And I think if it's what he wants to do, I think he should retire after he drops like 3 more albums, because he's been lacking recently. And I don't know if And Then You Pray For Me is going to drop. He said it would be June, then it was July, then August, and now September, so I literally give up. I was originally going to make this video in time for the album to drop so I could give my thoughts on it and make a good video while I was at it, but it's literally been so many changes of the release date that I can't wait to drop this video. I have to do it now. Maybe I'll do like a follow-up, who knows. Okay, here's where I recommend 5 deep cuts from his discography. From Hitler 8 Side A, Mariota. From Side B, 99 Averex. From Hitler Wears Hermes 3, Bon Jovi. From the first, McQueen's Dead. And from Who Mid the Sunshine, Lessie. Overall, I think Westside Gunn is a great artist who makes great music that shows the movement of underground hip-hop in the last decade, but he's plagued by his ego and Meat Riders and social media. Like, the dick eating is crazy, bruh. I don't know if he'll retire, and he's lied so much, I really don't even care anymore if he does. I don't know, man. That's really all I got. Thank you so much for watching. This is a video I recorded last year when I made the follow-up to my Westside Gunn review. This part did not make the cut. I figured some people might want to see it.
Yo, this is a quick review. Well, not even a review. I'm answering this nigga Andin Pancake.
That's not at all how you pronounce it. It's 3 words. A dank pancake. Everyone gets this fucking confused. I just don't get it, but you know, hey, whatever, man.
He had a lot of bad stuff to say about this, talking about why he choose this cover. Bro, you's a white boy. No disrespect, but you wouldn't understand, bro.
I don't know what me being white has to do with it. I mean, there's nothing to understand, bro. He took a fiend and put it on the cover. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. It's not a bad cover. I just don't understand why that was the cover. I felt like we were misled. I thought the cover was going to be the other one.
Well, you probably wouldn't even understand. And he said nigga only said like 2 songs was fire.
I thought most of it was good, or at least like fine. The only songs I loved were Peppas and Switches on Everything. The rest was just kind of, it wasn't bad. It was, it was alright. It was cool.
The rest of the shit he said was whack. He's bugging. I like every song on here, probably except the one with Westside Pootie. It's straight though, but I be skipping that shit sometimes.
I mean, you can like every song on here, but the whole thing, bro, it's not that good. It's a good project. It's not that good. This is not anything crazy. It's an okay project, bro.
That's the only song I be skipping. Sometimes I'll bump it. But this album all the way through is fire, bro. This nigga's tripping.
It's not like that, bro. It's not that great all the way through. Come on, you have to be able to acknowledge that like some of these tracks are mid, bro. God Is Love? That shit is terrible. And I like Stay Knack. That one's bad, bro. It's not good. Shootouts in Soho, it sounds like a phoned in verse from Rocky, bro. Red Death is too many people, and it's mostly mid. And the song of Westside Booty is bad. And so is FLYGOD Jr. This is like if he cut like the album in half, it'd be like a really good EP.
Andy Pancake, whatever your name is.
A dank pancake. It's three words.
Just use a fucking dweeb.
Bro, you post NBA 2K highlights that get 0 views.
You don't know shit about rap, nigga.
I don't need to know anything. I don't need to know shit about rap. This isn't about that. I'm telling you that I think this album is mid.
This nigga said all conductor beats sound the same.
I said all conductor beats recently sounded the same.
Come on, bro. You heard that Lil Baby album? That shit sound like one long ass song.
Okay, Lil Baby has nothing to do with it. I don't like Lil Baby either. I think Lil Baby's mid as hell too.
So get the fuck out of here with that shit. This album fire. Y'all should take a listen, bro.
You don't have to listen to my opinion. It's just an opinion, bro. You're meat riding for someone who doesn't care about you. Right? Westside Gunn does not know you exist. He doesn't know I exist. He doesn't give a fuck about either of us, dog. You're meat riding this album so hard. It's crazy.